Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new expanded deck profile. Today we're going to be looking at a Gardevoir Gallade deck. Now anyone familiar with the 2008, 2010, or 2017 formats would know that in each of those years Gardevoir Gallade has been a big part in one way or another. Today we're going to try to recreate that iconic duo in the expanded format. First, I have an announcement to make regarding the channel. I'm going to be stopping uploading expanded deck profiles after this one as consistently. Before now, I have been getting them out every 2 days, but with finals coming up, I cannot guarantee that. So I have this as the last pre-uploaded one at the current date and time, and when this one goes up, it will probably maybe be the last for a little bit. I do have some pre-recorded tabletops though coming out once a week, so look out for those. Thank you to everyone who has supported me over the past 2 months of doing these, and I will hopefully get back to doing these in January. Alrighty, so start off with 4 copies of Ralts from Plasma Storm with the Psybolt attack. There is some Ralts 70 HP, so if you want to play 70 HP, play those. We play it for the Psybolt. It's a horrible attack, but flip a coin if heads, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. It gives you a chance. So if you have absolutely nothing, you can paralyze your opponent, and that can be all you need to hopefully get back in the game. Great art by Kaneko Ao. I really miss her art, which she still drew for the Pokemon TCG. We have 3 copies of the Kirlia here from Chilling Reign. This is the real reason the deck works. With its Mirage Step, search your deck for up to 3 Kirlia and put them onto your bench. Unfortunately, this does mean if you prize multiple Kirlias, you have a really hard time. But generally, you want to get 2 or 3 Kirlia with the attack, depending on how many are in the deck. With this Kirlia is usually going to die, but then you have 2 or 3 other Kirlia in play, and you can start set up your stage 2s without having to use Rare Candy for each and every one of them. This deck really gives a lot of the life to this deck, similar to the way that Frogadier gave a lot of life to Greninja back in 2016 with its, I believe, Ninja Footsteps or something like that. Ninja Duplicates, Water Duplicates, I think it was called. Yeah, same thing as this deck, but with Frogadier. So I'm going to look it up just to see, because that is the original version of this attack. Water Duplicates, yes. Search your deck up to 3 Frogadier and put them onto your bench in the 2016-2017 Greninja deck. New from Silver Tempest, we do play. Oh, it just disappeared. There it is. 1 copy of the Refinement Kirlia. Once during your turn, you may discard a card from your hand and draw 2. And 2 Energy Slap for 30 is not good. 2 Retreat is also kind of bad. 80 HP is just whatever. You know, these stage 1s aren't really bulky. They're single prizers. What we play this for, other than the absolutely great artwork, is we play this so that having 1 copy means that we can, off of a Mirage Step, get a little bit of draw going if we don't have a Gardevoir or Gallade in our hand to start boosting our consistency. You don't want to play more than 1, because you do want primarily this Kirlia, because you either want to evolve into this Kirlia from hand and Mirage Step, or you want to search it out with one of your search cards and Mirage Step, and it is important to get a Mirage Step off every single game as long as you don't have tons of Kirlia prized. But having 1 is really nice to boost your draw early game. You do have some better draw once you get your evolution set up, but it can be a little bit tough getting there. What do we have for draw here? Well, let's talk about it. Our main attacker and draw engine is the Gardevoir from Chilling Reign with the Shining Arcana ability. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, attach any number of basic energy you find there to your Pokemon in any way you like, and then you get to put the other cards you didn't attach into your hand. So what this means is that you can just essentially draw 2 if you don't find any energy. You're trying to find energy though, because you want to power up the Brain Wave attack. Does 30 more damage for each psychic energy attached to this Pokemon. This is a pretty weak attack from the looks of it, because with 3 psychic energy, for instance, you're only doing 150 damage, which is not great. How do we boost that damage? Well, thankfully, we have a plan. Going all the way back from 2012, we have the Gardevoir from Next Destinies with the Psychic Mirage ability. Each basic Psychic attached to your Psychic Pokemon provides 2 Psychic, and you can't apply more than once. This attack is horrible, and I would not use it. What we can do with this Gardevoir here is double our Psychic Energy, allowing Brainwave to actually hit for astonishingly big numbers, hitting 60 more for each Psychic attached to you. So that means you're going to be doing 120 if you have 1 Psychic attached, which you can't use the attack anyway. 180 if you have 2 Psychic attached, which you now can because they are now counts as 4 Psychic. If you have 2 Psychic attached, that's 180. 3 Psychic attached, that is 240. 4 Psychic attached, that is 300 damage, and 5 360, means you KO anything in the expanded format. You can see how the damage ramps up very quickly. It is a lot of cost, but you're usually taking 3 prizes for your effort. This is a deck that primarily wants to face multi-prize decks, because it doesn't trade too well with single prize decks who just set up faster. So you absolutely need to have Psychic Mirage in play, and then you want to have these guys in play to boost your draw. But of course we have this Kirlia engine, meaning a lot of times we're going to have 4 or 5 stage 2s in play at once between Rare Candy and Kirlias. Let's talk about the other Gallades we have here, because Gallade's a big part of the combo. We have one copy of Gallade from Breakthrough 2015, but saw a lot of play in 2017 with Gardevoir GX, coming back to help this deck out with its Premonition ability. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. What this means is that you can use this ability to rearrange the top cards of your deck, set the top 2 to the cards you want to draw off of Shining Arcana, probably energy to attach with the ability, and then get the full effect of your Shining Arcana. And if you see absolutely no cards you want off of that Premonition, you just use a card to shuffle the deck, like one of your search cards, and then retry again, and hopefully this time you get a Shining Arcana. It's worth something. Sensitive Blade is a usable attack, and is quite decent for 2 colorless energy, does 60 plus 70 more if you play Disorder from your hand, a very easy effect to kind of set up. One of the things I will mention is that it does hit fighting weakness, but consequently, because it is a fighting type, it does also need 2 energy to attack, because it does not get paid for by the Psychic Mirage, because Psychic Mirage has to be attached to Psychic Pokemon. There are some other Gallades that you could play in here. I did have one in here for a while, but it wasn't seeing a lot of play. We do have the Gallade fighting type right here from Chilling Rain, the Dynablade that does 60 for each of your opponent's Pokemon V in play. Was cool, I won a few games off of it, but it really just didn't help. You can usually one-shot things with Gardevoir. And then there is the Gallade from Cosmic Eclipse with the double type. As long as it's in play, it's Psychic and Fighting and does 120, move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench. This one's not bad. I don't like this character rare, to be honest. But you can hit 240 if you hit for weakness, and then move an energy from this off. Because it is also Psychic and Fighting, you can also use 1 energy to pay for it. This one we use primarily for Premonition, and Sensitive Blade hitting Fighting Weakness is a bonus. We do play another Gallade, a newer card, the Gallade from Lost Origin with the Buddy Catch ability. Once your turn, you search your deck for a supporter, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Very good for keeping your consistency up. And let's talk about the attack, that's also very, very good. Swirling Slice is 160 and move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench. It seems kind of mediocre, but the cost is actually payable with 2 Psychic Energy, and you're moving that energy back to Gardevoirs on the bench, meaning that if your opponent tries to take a KO on Gallade, they're going to be taking out only 1 energy, and your Gardevoir is going to have more energy on it. Or if they take a KO on Gardevoir, your Gallade will remain untouched, you attach 1 more energy, and you're once again doing 160 damage, which is 2-shotting most of the things in an expanded format. So it's been very good. This Gallade helps the deck a lot, and I quite like it. One copy of Ditto Prism Star with the Almighty Evolution. You can evolve it into any Stage 1 Pokemon. Obviously, it's Prism Star, so to be careful, it can get discarded. It's very difficult to search in this deck, so we're not really relying on searching it. It's just nice to have a 5th Ralts in the deck, so that's why I play it. Make sure you evolve this Ditto into a Kirlia, and then save a Ralt on the bench if you have one. That way Ralt can be Rare Candied. Ditto cannot be Rare Candied. One copy of Lunala Prism Star. This is a cool tech I'm trying out. It's worked pretty well. I've gotten some big, like 400 damage attacks off with it, though it doesn't help every single game, so your mileage may vary. Full Moon Star, for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play, attach a Psychic Energy from your pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. This is especially good now that we have the Refinement Kirlia. I have set up some things where I've done a couple turns of Refinement and then gotten some energy back into play with Full Moon Star. So it's good for getting energy into play, potentially. Sometimes you just have nothing else to do. Why not throw it up and recharge some energy and threaten some big hits? Notably, the second attack, even though it says 4 Psychic, is actually payable with 2 Psychic if you have Gardevoir in play. That's very important, because 4 Psychic is terrible. That's why I don't play this card in Shadow Rider. Does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to all Pokemon. Notably, any of the energy on your field attached to Psychic Pokemon will provide 40 times. So Psystorm can do some really big damage. Not my favorite card in the list, though, so if you want to cut this for something else, I totally get it. Play 1 copy of Tapu Lele, the Wonder Tag ability. When you play from your hand into your bench, you may search your deck for a supporter, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So we just use this for consistency. You start it way more often than you really should. Honestly, there's been a lot of games where I start Lele and it just feels so bad. but you really have to have that extra consistency boost just in case you have absolutely nothing in your opening hand, because this deck needs to get going pretty fast. Or it needs to get like its turn 2 Kirlias and all that. When you play from, Energy Drive for 2 colorless is actually a really good attack in here, unexpectedly. This does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon not affected by weakness or resistance. Because your psychic Pokemon that have psychic energy attached are now double, you can actually just pile energy on here and take big KOs if you have nothing else with Energy Drive. Though it's usually a last resort. One energy for Tapu Lele, heal all damage from 2 of your bench Pokemon. I haven't used it in this deck, but it could be relevant. So, supporters, I'm going to rearrange them. I don't like the way that the app did. 1 copy of Juniper, discard your hand, draw 7. It is the fastest, most aggressive draw supporter and expanded. We're only playing 1 copy though, and the reason is that this deck really doesn't like to discard things. It's a lot of moving pieces. It's a stage 2. It's got like 20 Pokemon in there. Discarding can sometimes be a little rough. So we do play 1 copy though. It's nice to search off of Lele, but I really don't want to play more than 1. 3 copies of N. Each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her prizes, then draws a card for each of his or her remaining prizes. So if you saw the fact that I'm saying that turn 2 you're going to Mirage Gate, that means turn 3 you're going to start attacking. You're probably going to be behind on prizes by then, and N will start to be a more live card. Usually you're not going to take prizes until at least turn 3, if not turn 4. So N's going to be a pretty live card because you're usually going to be behind in the early game. And in the late game, you can N your psychic energies in your hand back into the deck and then Shining Arcana them out. And Shining Arcana also prevents the N from really putting you to that low of a hand size. We do play 1 copy of Brigette. In any Lele or Jirachi deck, I advocate for Brigette. Search your deck for 1 basic Pokemon EX or 3 basic Pokemon and put them on your bench. So obviously here we're just going to search for like 3 Ralts or 2 Ralts and a Ditto, you know, some of that, some combo of that, and yeah, it's pretty good. I advocate for every single every single deck like this that has evolutions and Lele and Jirachi. You want to search for your basics. The reason we play this over like Elm's Lectures because we do have this Lunala, and Brigette can helpfully search Lunala in a pinch. 1 copy of Guzma, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon when they're active, and then switch your active one to your bench. So we just want to be taking 1-hit KOs. A lot of times, once you get your Gardevoir set up, you're going to try to take 2 to 3 turn wins just by taking prizes every single turn. You're just going to meat hack everything in front of you. So like if you're facing like a 3 prizer, you're just going to KO 2 3 prizes in a row and just win the game then and there. So you want to have Guzma to target down the right thing on the board. Make sure you have the rest of your stuff established, but Guzma's pretty good. 1 copy of Klara, choose 1 or both, put up to 2 Pokemon or put up to 2 basic energy from your discard to your hand. This deck needs a lot of recovery, but it can't really afford to play things like Rescue Stretcher, so I play Klara here just to get stuff back. This is an optional slot. I just really like having Klara in decks with Versus Seeker, in decks with Lele, to have that option to recover, especially in a deck with this many moving pieces. It can help you piece together rare candy combos. It can help you get back your Kirlia, because your first Kirlia is probably going to go down, so it has immediate use there, getting back a Kirlia, a Ralt, and an energy. Yeah, Klara's been pretty good. 1 copy of Teammates. You can only play if 1 of your Pokemon's knocked out. Search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand and shuffle your deck afterward. So your Pokemon are generally going to be getting knocked out. Your max HP in this deck is 160, which is not that big, unfortunately, in the expanded format. Gardevoir from 2010 would love to have 160 HP, but alas, times are different now. 4 copies of Fog Crystal. Search your deck for a basic Psychic Pokemon or basic Psychic Energy and put it into your hand. Usually going for the former to set up your Ralts. Sometimes going for the latter to get an attachment for turn. But usually you want to keep the Psychics in the deck for Shining Arcana. But like I said, attachment for turn can a lot of times be good with Fog Crystal. Can also be used to shuffle the deck to reroute. If you see Premonition, you see nothing you want, use a Fog Crystal, shuffle the deck, and then go and try a Shining Arcana now that the deck is shuffled. Notably does get Tapu Lele for that supporter search. Keep that in mind. 4 copies of Mysterious Treasure. Discard a card from your hand, search your deck for a Psychic or Dragon Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Notably, these do not search Ditto, so you cannot search Ditto with any card in the deck other than Computer Search and Brigette. So keep that in mind, but Ditto's usually not that important to search. Mysterious Treasure searches not only our basic Psychic Pokemon, but also our evolutions, like Kirlia and Gardevoir, and Gallade. Notably also still searches Tapu Lele for that supporter pairing. Searches your Ralts in a pinch. Yeah, it's pretty good. 4 copies feels great. 2 copies of Evo Incense. Search your deck for an evolution, reveal it and put it into your hand. So this only gets our evolutions, but notably can be very good for piecing together rare candies. Very good for getting your turn 2 Kirlia, Mirage Step. Yeah, it feels pretty good. I like that. 3 copies of Rare Candy, choose a basic Pokemon in play, then if you have a Stage 2 card from your hand that evolves from that Pokemon, put that card onto the basic Pokemon to evolve it. So it just allows you to cheat Stage 2s into play. Notably, because we use Kirlia, we don't absolutely need 4 copies of Rare Candy in a Stage 2 deck. However, it's still nice to have a pretty hefty copy. I did have a game where I prized 3 the other day, though. So if you want to put 4 in, just to avoid the scenario where you prize 3 like I did, then, you know, it's up to you. I just call that bad odds and move on, though. Notably, if you use your Kirlia and you get 3 Kirlias onto the bench, you might have 2 Ralts still on the bench, and you can use those Rare Candies for those Ralts. Helps you get Stage 2s into play, especially after your Stage 2s have started to be removed from play, because once you lose those Kirlia evolutions, you're not going to be Mirage Stepping again. You usually only use it once. 1 copy of Comp Search, discard 2 cards from your hand, search your deck for a card, put it into your hand. I could be talked into putting Dowsing Machine or putting Life Dew. Mainly, though, my problem is that I just want to find Rare Candy, or I want to find an Evolution, and I want to get that turn 2 Kirlia into play. So having a card that can get anything in the deck feels pretty good. 3 copies of VS Seeker, put a supporter card from spell in your hand, ensures you can have the supporter you want when you want. A lot of these are one-ofs, especially Guzma is going to be very important, and Klara and Teammates, those one-of supporters, to guarantee that you have the attack you need every single turn. 2 copies of Rod. Shuffle 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy from your spell into your deck. I originally ran 1, I bumped it up to 2, because it's just really good in the late game to put energy back into the deck, to pump your Shining Arcanas to maximum power, hopefully hit multiple energies off of your 2 Shining Arcanas. 2 copies of Float Stone gives its Pokemon the start stat to do for a treat. Usually just going to throw this on a Gardevoir with Psychic Mirage on the bench. Do be careful when you're playing the Psychic Mirage Gardevoir, because your opponent will try to target it down. If they gust it up and it has a Float Stone, obviously you can retreat, but if they gust it up and knock it out, you want to make sure you have a Kirlia or Ralts that can evolve into another one, because if you lose your Gardevoir and you're not able to restore it into play, your damage output is severely limited. You may have to pivot back into a Gallade for a Swirling Slice for 3 energies, which doesn't feel good either. 1 copy of Swell keeps your opponent's stadiums out of play. There's a few stadiums we might like Altar of the Moon, or the, you know, there's like Training Court, stuff like that. Problem is, you just really do not have the space to play them. We'd love Broken Time Space. Broken Time Space is not in this format, so cannot play that. Chaotic Swell is the stadium of choice because it bumps your opponent's stadium and keeps their stadiums out of play. So we don't want to see things like Silent Lab stopping our Ditto, or we don't want to see, you know, Disruption stadiums, you know, things of that regard. But we don't really have a room to play our own stadium, so we play 1 copy of Swell. 13 Psychic Energy rounds of the list. I originally played some DCE when I played the Dynablade Gallade, and if you do decide to play the Dynablade Gallade from Chilling Reign, I would definitely put in 1 or 2 DCEs to help pay for that. 13 Psychics, though, means that you're very consistent on hitting those Psychics Shining Arcana, doing big damage. As I said, this deck is kind of a deck that can really only beat multi-prize decks. It's definitely not a meta deck by any means, because Stage 2 attacking is kind of unviable right now. Maybe the EXs will bring this back. I just want to harken back to a classic combo from 2008, 2010, and 2017 of Gardevoir Gallade. One of the best like combos in the Pokemon's history, I'd say, right up there with like Zoroark and everything it paired with in the 2017 and 2018 seasons. But yeah, that's about all I had to say on this deck. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, reminder that there will be no expanded deck profiles as consistently, so do keep out for those tabletop gameplays, and I'll see you in the next